If you want to learn today about Docker and how you can create a Docker image of your Python web application and eventually run a Docker image container on your local computer, you're in the right place. Today, in this beginner-friendly tutorial, I'm gonna show you a step-by-step how you can use Docker in order to create a Docker image for your Python web application and eventually run a container on your local computer. Very easy, very straightforward, especially for beginners. So no matter what you're doing right now, stop everything and stay tuned because we are about to start. Welcome back guys, and thank you for keep watching. So if you already know me by now, I'm already prepared everything for you on my GitHub repository that I will share the link on my YouTube description. So all the instruction, all the git command that you need to run will be available for you on my YouTube GitHub repository account. So just listen to everything I'm sharing in this video. Another thing that you need in order for run this tutorial, you need to have Docker. So Docker is amazing application that help you run and manage image on your local computer or even on the server. And if you don't have Docker, please install it. I will share with you the link on this YouTube description. Also, if you have Windows, if you have Mac, it's working with any distribution that you have. So after you make sure you have Docker app running on your computer, let's start our tutorial. So if you watch my last YouTube tutorial, I released a FastAPI tutorial especially for beginner. And as you see right now on the right screen, there is a full tutorial how to build on your local computer a FastAPI that interact with a JSON database and that it run on your local computer. And today the tutorial we're gonna make a Docker image from this FastAPI package. So I'm gonna show you very quickly how I'm running the with UV the Python FastAPI package. And as you can see right now, it's running. I can have access to items and I can also have access to document that FastAPI auto-generate with Swagger. So it's very simple REST API that we build with a FastAPI in JSON. And basically it's working on local computer. And now I'm gonna show you how you can create a Docker image that Dockerize this project, this app, amazing app, and eventually we're gonna run it on Docker. So the first step that we need to do, we need to create a new file and call it Dockerfile. This is how Docker work. It work with a Dockerfile, and now we're gonna compose the Dockerfile command in order to create our image. And if you wanna know and extend your knowledge about FastAPI, you can go to their documentation, and they have amazing documentation of how to create this Docker image. What is special about today, I'm also gonna create this Docker image with volume. Okay, so it will have a volume and memory basically. So in order to start, we're gonna create from Python 3.9. Basically, this is a basic image that we are pulling that have Python already inside of it. And it will basically, it's like the basic layer of our image that will help us to continue install other Python package that we have. So after pulling the basic image of Python 3.9 version, we're gonna declare our working dir in Docker. It's work dir /code. You can declare whatever dir or whatever path that you want. This is the most generic one. And next, after that, what we're gonna do, we're gonna do copy of the requirement file. Okay, we're basically gonna copy the requirement. It's contained inside all the FastAPI package or import package that we need in order to run a FastAPI on our local computer or inside a Docker image. So as you can see, this is the requirement. We have FastAPI, we have a PyDentic, and we have UVcorn. Very simple, three simple library. And after we're doing the copy, next what we're gonna do, we're gonna run a install command. Okay, we're gonna use the pip install no cache plus with the upgrading, and then the requirement text file that we just copy. So basically run is a Docker command that running command, as you understand, on the Docker container. And basically we almost done. We have a few more lines that we need to do. Okay. And now after we press we add the run command, now we're gonna copy our app or the dir that we have. We're gonna use dot and dot. It means copy everything in this location to that location. It means inside our working dir. Because we declare working dir code, it will know where to copy that. And after that, we're gonna use our last command. Basically, we're gonna use the cmd. It means that run this command in the terminal, basically. Okay, so this is the command that we're gonna use. We're gonna use the same as you saw at the beginning. We're gonna declare ubkern and then main app. This is basically the name of our file and the name of our FastAPI. Then we're gonna declare the host 0000 and we're gonna expose our port on port 80. That's it, guys. How many lines we have? We have 6 lines. And we basically create our Dockerized file that will create our image for our FastAPI app, that it's REST API app. And as you can see, it's very similar to what FastAPI publish on their documentation. You can also play with the copy where you want to copy the dir, change the path. I use the very generic one. So now on my computer I have a Docker that it's running. This is what will happen when you're gonna install Docker. This is the Docker app. As you can see, I don't have anything. It's empty. I don't have any image, any volume, any container, anything. It's pretty empty. And now I'm gonna run the command that basically will create the image. Okay, so basically how it works with Docker. First of all, you're going to create the image with a Docker image command. Okay, and this is the command. We're gonna use Docker build. And -t is basically tagging a name of our images we're gonna create. And after we basically creating the Docker image, then we running the Docker image on a container. Very simple. So as you can see, we created the Docker image. It was very fast because we use a very lightweight library, and also we barely have any files and barely loading any library. Now, if you're asking yourself why we copy twice, we copy requirement and then we copy dot. Basically, the way that the copy command is working, the way the Docker is working with cache layer. So if we don't have any change in our requirement, we don't need to keep running it again and again and again. So this is why we have copy in 2 different places. So now we're gonna run the Docker run command. As you can see, it's very simple. It's only 1 line. What we're gonna do, we're gonna do Docker run -d, it's in the background, p, it's port. We're gonna export 8080 port on our local computer, and we'll connect it to the 80 port in the Docker image. And then we're gonna mention the Docker image name, and that's it. 1 line, and we created our container, and now it's gonna run on port 8080, and you can view it on Docker app. As you can see, it's created a container. We're gonna go inside now on the Docker app, inside the application on the server or the image itself, the container itself. You can view the log, you can view the inspect inside, and you can also play with the terminal, like you have access to a Linux bash server. So once we think that we copy everything, it's located in this location, let's go to the browser. Let's see what is created for us. So this is where we're gonna press. And as you can see, if you remember, in a Docker run container, we choose the port 8080, and this is now where it's work. It work on Docker 8080, sorry, on port 8080. And basically it's our app, our FastAPI app that we have. It's just create the image and run it on our local computer. We don't need to install anything. We don't need to run on the git install command that we usually doing. We just doing Docker image and Docker run, and that's it. We have a container with our app. Very simple. Now, one of the issues that we have with our image that we created, basically we are working with local JSON file. So what does it mean? It means that when I'm creating a new record that you can see right now on the screen, those records are not saved on my local JSON file. They are saved inside the container. Now, because we didn't declare any volume, okay, because we didn't declare any volume, the record that I'm gonna create right now will disappear after we're gonna restart the container or after we're gonna run a new container. So this is what I'm showing you right now. I'm creating new record on the that will be saved on the file inside the Docker container, and we got 200 OK. It means a new record I've created. But as you see right now, it's not saved in my data.json on my local computer. It's saved inside the Docker container. I don't have access to that, and it's not gonna be persist. It's gonna be disappear after we restart the container because we didn't use volume. Okay, and next I'm gonna show you how you can declare and use volume. So now when I wanna basically update my file, update my code, I need to create a new image. This is how it works with Docker. So now I'm gonna just do a simple update. Instead of hello with one file, I'm gonna add another file on the left. I'm gonna save it. But if I will try to check it on the container that it's running, I'm not gonna see anything. So in order to solve it, what we need to do, we need to create a new build. We need to run a new build of our image. Okay, so let's do Docker build ls. It's basically, sorry, Docker image ls. It's showing us the image that we have right now that is running, or not running, but it's used by our Docker. And Docker PS is showing us all the container that actually running right now. And so we have one image and one container that's running, but now we did the change and I want to review the change in my browser. In order to do that, we need to first of all stop our Docker container, and then we need to delete it because we're gonna create a new container. Now what I'm showing you that, as I said 1 or 2 minutes ago, that the new record that I created now exist, but when I'm gonna restart or create a new container, they're gonna disappear. So let's stop the Docker container. Okay, and now let's remove the container. We don't need it because we're gonna create a new image. We just did a code change and we wanna review it. So as you can see, we don't have any container anymore. So I'm building a new Docker image that will contain the last change that I did. Okay, I have there a mistake. I need to remove the -t and do just that. Okay, perfect. So now because we did change only on the file, the image creation will be faster because we didn't need to run the requirement again. Okay, so let's run the Docker container command again. Everything is perfect. Let's review it on the browser. And now we actually seeing the change. Why? Because we created a new image. So this is the thing with Docker. Every time you change the code, you need to create new image and then run a container again. Unless you're working with local volume. This is something else for a different tutorial that I will show you. So as I told you, because we restart our container or created a new container, my data that I created disappear. I only have now 2 records instead of 3 or 4 records that I have a few minutes ago that I just created. And in order to solve this problem, we're gonna go next and create a volume. This is also a Docker feature that mount a volume and connect the volume on our local machine to a volume on the Docker image itself. Okay, so let's run the Docker create volume command right now. I'm gonna show you how to do it. We're gonna do Docker volume create, and we're gonna name the volume whatever name you want. I'm gonna call it my data. Okay, so now we have a volume on Docker, okay, that it's saved on our local machine. Okay, at the moment this volume don't contain anything, but it exists because we didn't connect it to a container. And now we're gonna basically connect it to a new container. Okay, so as you see, we have our volume, we have an image, and we have a container. So what we need to do, we need to remove the container that we already have, right? We need to delete it. So let's do Docker PS, get the container ID. And instead of stop and then delete it, we can just delete it and it will clear it. Okay, and as you can see right now, we don't have any container. Perfect, we did our first step. Now let's do a change in the code and then run a new container. Okay, so it says, docker run -d in the background, it means in daemon, -p as the port that we're gonna expose, 8080, and then here we adding -v, it's basically the volume. Remember we just created a volume, so this is how I'm mounting the volume from our local computer to our database or data JSON that we have. We do it -v, my data code, and then data folder. So now let me refresh, but I have a mistake. The file, the browser HTML didn't change because I created container, but I didn't create a new build of the image. So if it's something like that happened to you, this is why it's happened, because you didn't create a new image, and then you need to create the Docker container. So let me clear the Docker container and build a new image. First of all, let's remove the Docker container. I'm gonna do -f, and we're gonna copy also this hash. It's also an option to delete the container. And now let's build again a new image. I'm writing everything because I want you to memorize it, okay? Instead of do Command C, Command P, Command V. So we created a new image, and now when I'm running a new container, first of all, we're seeing the change, okay? So our commit, our change in the code that we did just got reflected. Now I'm going to create a new record in our data JSON, in our data file. Okay, let's create two new records. Okay, we created two new records, and now let's try to pull them. Okay, so the records have been created. Perfect, we have 4 records now in our data JSON. And now I'm gonna show you that when I'm gonna create a new build, a new image, because I did again change in the code, and I'm gonna delete the container and create and run a new container. Now you're gonna see that the data that have been created just 1 minute ago in the data JSON, now because we have volume, it will be reflected in our new container. And this is how you basically can use the same volume with different container, okay? So now we don't have any container because we deleted. Let's create a new image again. Okay, and let's now do a Docker run and create a new container with the same volume that we just created a few minutes ago. Let's refresh. So our code have been reflected, the change have been reflected. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. And now let's try to pull this item. And as you can see, now it persists, it exists, the volume have been saved, the record that I created a few minutes ago are now passing to the new container because we are using volume. So this is one more amazing feature with Docker, and now you're basically working with volume. This volume can be also MySQL database, it does not have to be a file. can be MySQL, it can be other thing that you need to shift between a container. Okay, so now you can see the volume and basically where it's target to. Okay, and this is basically the data that you have inside the volume. Let's open that. Okay, I need to save it. I'm gonna save it on my local computer. And here is the data JSON. You see we have 4 records, while on our local computer we only had 2 records. So this is how you work with Docker. This is how you save information in Docker, and this is how you shift everything. All the instruction is in my GitHub. I will share with you the link, all the comment that you need in order to do Docker build and Docker run, everything you need to do. And also, if you like the tutorial and you want to support my channel and get more amazing content, think about buying me a coffee. It will help us a lot to contribute more and more amazing content. And in our next tutorial, I will show you how you can take the image that we just created and basically deploy it to AWS Elastic Container Service or ECS. I'm gonna show you all the steps you need to do in order to go big, in order to deploy it to AWS Elastic Container Service. So if you are not subscribed, please subscribe so you're gonna get notification, and a lot of amazing other tutorials are waiting for you. Thank you guys so much. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching, and follow to the rest of the video. Please like, subscribe, and leave comment below, and keep following because I'm gonna release more and more amazing videos about AI, about AWS, about DevOps, about a lot of interesting stuff. Thank you so much.